everyone. Whoops, I was mic'd up for a second there. Hello, everyone. I'm Miranda, and this is Lola. Hopefully I'm pointing on the right side from the Schwarzkopf USA digital team, and we welcome you to the second stop of the DEMI Domination World Tour, which basically is featuring all of your favorite artists on the Schwarzkopf USA digital artistic team, focusing specifically on IGORA Vibrance live education with special guests from all over the USA. And so for this particular live, we will be focusing on toning down to mushroom brown in a creative way with both Bescene and Hair by AshleyFillip. So before we get into it, and I actually pass this off to Lola, who will be taking over as our honorary hairdresser on the team and our main host for the remainder of the segment, I wanted to briefly mention that we are actually hosting an IGORA Vibrance giveaway for a kit throughout the entirety of the live. So we want you to comment, engage with us, ask questions, and when you do, you'll be randomly chosen, or one winner will be randomly selected to win this kit. And in this kit, there will be hand-selected shade favorites from both Lynn and Hair by AshleyFillip with a custom swatch ring that will show you all of the shades that they have chosen for you to have. And so with all that being said, I'm actually going to pass it off to Lola to talk about, why is toning down to mushroom brown important to learn about, and also introducing both of our main artists.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Miranda. Hey, everyone. I hope you're having a beautiful day today. We're also excited to introduce Toning Down to Mushroom Brown, DEMI Domination class visual stream for you today that two really brilliant artists that you've heard of are going to walk us through. So toning down to mushroom brown, to fill or not to fill, that is the question. Are we replacing what's missing? Are we enhancing? Are we really utilizing that sort of hollow structure from lifting the hair previously? So this is going to be amazing, and I'm so excited to introduce digital artistic team member, Salon owner, and multiple time BTC winner, Linh Phan, Mr. Bescene. Welcome.
What's up, guys? So excited to be here.
Oh man, it's so good to see you. And wow, she looks amazing. I can't wait to hear all about this. But first things first, I have a question for you before we begin. And in terms of mushroom brown, and speaking in color series, can you tell me a little bit about what series you're really into right now and gravitating towards to create the perfect mushroom brown?
I've been really liking the -46 series. That is the beige chocolate. It's just enough cool and warmth to create the perfect mushroom brown. I'll go through the formulas a little bit later today.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear all about it. So let's go ahead and introduce Hair by Ashley.
What's up? How are you?
Good. How are you? Hair by AshleyFillip.
Good.
Hey, everyone. So sorry. So we're also excited to see what you're going to do today. But first, I would love to know just a little bit about who you are.
All right. So I have been licensed since 2007. I've dabbled a little bit in runway, TV, all that stuff, but mainly been behind the chair for about 8 years now.
Wow, that's amazing. So you have like a good amount of experience. You've done some really cool things. You've been behind the chair. So you have tons of experience, and we all are familiar with how beautiful your work is. So this is going to be
really thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here. This is going to be so fun.
Yes, definitely. I have two questions for you. Question number one, just like what I asked Lynn, can you tell me a little bit about what you're into in terms of color series and vibrance?
Yeah, so for the mushroom brown look, I like to lean more towards like the smoky, hollow, cooler tones. So for this, I'm going to be doing 6-16 and 6-12 for my mushroom brown formula.
Oh, that sounds really, really cool. I'm super excited to hear all about it. And I have one more question for you. Since you recently switched over to Vibrance, can you tell me a bit about what that experience has been like for you?
Yeah, so it's been great so far. What I like to do when I'm experimenting with a new color line is I like to find my core colors. So I'll actually take hair that I've cut from big transformations and save that and use them as my color swatches. So with doing that, I have found that Vibrance is very true to tone. If anything, it leans on the cooler side, whereas other color lines, I feel like it's very warm, and I have found that I had to like over formulate to kind of compensate for things. But with Vibrance, I don't have to do that. I can keep it really simple. Yeah, I love the lotion developer. That's my go-to because I do a lot of different placements, and I need a lot of more control for that. And the consistency of that is amazing. I'm obsessed with the lotion developer. So yeah.
Very cool. That's really great to hear. I love that. So let's go ahead and bring Lynn back on. Hey, so can you give us a little breakdown about what you're going to do today?
Yeah, so I'm going to show you guys how to tone down a platinum to mushroom brown. And with the creative placement, I'm using this veil technique where I use Chroma ID yellow straight out the bottle to create this really cool, like rooted highlight effect. And I'll show you guys that today.
Awesome. Awesome. And then Ashley, you want to tell us a little bit about what you're going to do?
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing a color block. I'll be doing about 1.5 inch parting around the entire perimeter of the hair. I will split the fringe area and create this really cool green using Chroma ID. The rest will be a really cool copper, and then the mushroom brown all over.
Okay, amazing. This looks really exciting to you both. So let's go ahead and get started on our doll heads.
All right.
Cool.
Here it is. You guys can see both the starting pigment versus the final. And I want to show you guys really quick what this veil does before I start. So if you guys look really closely, it looks like I did a bunch of highlights, right? And what's cool about the veil is that it kind of falls sporadically every time you move the hair around, which is really cool. But it's a really simple technique. It's only just a few pieces of hair taken up from the middle section, right? And then just dropped over top. So it's only just a little bit of the hair that gets the bright yellow, and everything else is the mushroom brown. You guys see that? Yeah. And then what I did was I left a little bit of the underneath of her bang dark. So the yellow kind of falls through there. Yep. All right, Ashley, you want to talk about yours a little bit?
Yeah, so I love doing this placement. It's a really easy placement, but it has high impact. So with your clients that maybe are a little too scared to try something on the edgier side, this is like a really good way to kind of ease them into that. And the possibilities of the color combinations are endless. Like that's why I like to use this placement a lot.
Oh, hey. Oh my God. Sorry, everyone. Wow. Okay, so this all looks really exciting. So you're sectioning right now. Tell me a little more about what you're sectioning.
So for me, I'm going to go ahead and part her right down the middle. Yeah, sorry, it's like a little bright right above her, but I'm going to take a part her right down the middle. And it's going to be about maybe 1/2 inch wide. So if you part it in the middle, right? Yeah, it's hard to see. It's like really bright, like right here. I'll bring it close. So if you part it in the middle, you're going to take 1/4 inch from each side and clip that up. That is the veil. So from here to here, that middle section will get clipped up. Just like that. This is basically the veil that's yellow. And then when I'm done coloring that, it kind of just falls over. See that?
Yeah. And that's when you get it just like was spilling. So cool.
Yep.
And your section Oh,
So I'm taking an 1.5 inch section around the entire perimeter. I'll kind of turn her around so you can see, but it's just going to go all the way around. And that's going to be my pop of color, the copper. And then I will split that front half in the fringe. And I will do the green and the copper over there as well. And then this entire section that's clipped away is going to be the mushroom brown.
so Lynn, as you're sectioning this, can I ask you?
Yeah. Sure. Yep.
So you're obviously such an experienced Vibrance user, Schwarzkopf user in general. You really are sort of like the main man. You're the world-class hairdresser on the team. It's true. And I'm just really curious, like, what advice you can give to the new IGORA Vibrance user?
What advice I would give to a new Vibrance user is to really play with Vibrance and get familiar with what the tones look like by themselves. Like Ashley was saying, to test them on swatches that are, that come in the mail like this. And you can just swatch every different tone and get familiar with what they look like. And then you can start to play and experiment. That's kind of how I got started as well with the IGORA Vibrance.
Great advice. Just like creating your own swatches, even though you can open up a color book and see them, by creating it yourself, you really do sort of like connect with what the color is capable of a little bit more.
Exactly.
That's great. Great advice.
All right, so my yellow section is clipped up. So I went into the bang a little bit. Right in there, just a top layer of the fringe. You guys can see that. I went into the crown area a little bit.
So just kind of like top of the crown, bottom of the crown?
So all of this will be colored the Chrome ID yellow after I applied the mushroom brown. So it was super easy technique to get a really cool effect. So you can kind of see there.
Very cool.
Yep.
Very cool.
So I like to apply, since I'm using Vibrance, I'm going to go ahead and use a spray bottle with water and just spritz her down. I like to apply damp. It's going to allow me to move really quickly through the hair. And I think my take on mushroom brown today is a little bit lighter than Ashley's. So it's really cool you guys get to see two types of mushroom brown. I went with more of the natural side of mushroom brown and a tad lighter. So I can go over my formula if you guys are ready.
Yeah, I'd love to hear your formula. If you could kind of like talk about to fill or not it as you're explaining it, it's really amazing for us.
Okay, so in this scenario, I will not fill. I want the mushroom brown, like Ashley said, to be a little more like the hollowy side. If I had a client that really wanted to stay dark and be dark for a long time, the formula would switch and I may be able to fill it. But in this case, this is more of a creative type of mushroom brown. A lot of my clients would want to go down to mushroom brown, give it a try, and then maybe want to change it up the next time they come in. So again, I'm leaning more towards the lighter side.
So you really are just like creating that consistency, which is really where the light just shines through a little bit. You don't have that like warmth on the side, which is cool. And I think it's a really great conversation with color corrections being a huge part of our lives in the salon, and really kind of figuring out exactly when you need to do something like fill and when you can actually use that raw canvas in your favor.
Yeah. I think we had a question come in. Is it better to swatch on human hair or extension hair? I like to get on Amazon. It's like a key ring with a bunch of almost like 9 to 15 blank swatches, and I like to use that type of hair.
I like to save. If I do a huge transformation, I'll save some of my clients' hair, because then you get to experiment on color hair or hair that's maybe a little bit more on the porous side. You know, you get to really see what that color is going to do for you. So I'll save it and make my own swatch book.
That's actually amazing. I love it.
So you have a collection of your client's hair at home?
Just a little baggie, just creeping it real. So I'm going to be mixing up my Chroma ID formula. So for this green, I'm going to be doing 3.5 pumps of yellow and then 1 pump of the blue to get that green.
Actually, sectioning is so clean.
What?
Your sectioning is so clean. I really love.
Oh, thank you.
For sure.
Yeah, it helps when you're doing, you know, a bunch of different colors. It helps to have clean sectioning so you don't get confused.
And you're mixing up the Chroma ID right now. Will you show us?
Yeah, I'm mixing up my green right now. So that was 3.5 pumps of the yellow Chroma ID and 1 pump of the blue.
Very cool.
All right, so I just mixed up my Vibrance, and I can go ahead and go over that exact formula so you guys can get that. So I mixed it up with the lotion. We used 50 grams of the 6-46. I even added like 20 grams of the 6-16, similar to the one that Ashley's using. I went ahead and added 15 grams of the 7-1 to keep it on the lighter side. I added 5 grams of 0-22 to really keep it cool. And then I mixed it 1-to-1 ratio with the 6-volume lotion.
Very nice. And you obviously are using the lotion as well today. Control.
Yes, for control. Sorry.
No worries.
Again, super simple technique. Everything is going to be mushroom brown except for that little tiny veil that I left on top. And again, I'm going to go ahead and apply from roots to end, being very careful not to get anything on this hair up top.
Okay, fantastic. You're doing like a clean classic. Your formulation is 6-46, 6-16, and 7-1. Did I miss?
Yeah. You missed a 0-22. I added 5 grams of 0-22.
Very nice. This formulation is really cool. If you really like take a step back and look at it, you have from the 6-46, you have like that really cool sand and warmth. Your 1-6 is a bit more of that muted blue, which I don't like as you kind of come together in your mind, you really sort of see that foundation for that like really nice, like cool slatey beige.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so we have a question for you. So everyone is curious, do you need to go platinum to do mushroom brown, or can you start at a different point?
You can honestly get a nice mushroom brown at a level 7, level 8. You don't have to go super platinum. We were lucky enough to get, you know, these mannequins that were super light, but if you're doing a color correction and, you know, you only get a nice, like a 6, 7, and it's like really warm, using the additives, you're able to switch around that orange. So let's say she lifts to a level 6 and it's like really harsh orange. You can formulate at a 6, maybe at a 5, level 5, and then you can add in the 0-22, which is the anti-orange, to really calm that orange down.
Yeah, that's really great advice. So that's sort of like you're doing a color correction and then the hair just can't push past a certain level when you're lifting. Is that what you?
Yes.
Okay, so We have another question about gel and lotion activator, and I want to kind of just hear your different perspectives on it. So when do you go for, you know, Vibrance activator lotion versus Vibrance activator gel? What's your like go-to situation there?
Yeah, so for gel, I would do that if I was doing more of the like at the bowl type toning. If you're doing something like a melt or a color placement, I would go for the lotion because it has more control. But also too, what I've noticed with the lotion is I'm using like half the amount of product that I would normally do. It spreads so well. I don't know what you guys did to that, but it's amazing. I've saved a lot of money and time with lotion.
Yeah, all about control.
Yeah.
All right. So we've already talked about formulations, but I'm going to go ahead. Miranda's going to go ahead and put your formulation in the chat so everyone can see what you're doing. So right now, you're in this specific section, you're using Chroma ID, but in terms of everywhere else, can you tell me your formulations?
Yeah, so for the copper, I'm doing 40 grams of 777. And then for the mushroom brown, I'm doing 40 grams of 6-16 and 10 grams of 6-12, all with 6 volume lotion.
Okay, great. And so the separate, one of them is your copper formula and one of them is your mushroom brown formula. Just to be clear.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just to be clear.
Perfect. Yeah.
And then Lynn, do you want to, can you give us your formulation one more time?
All right, let's see if I remember it again. I think it was 40 grams of 6-46.
Yes.
I did 20 grams of 6-16, 15 grams of the 7-1, and 5 grams of the 0-22.
Perfect.
Yeah. So guys, right now I'm just covering the base with the formula around the entire head. And then I'm gonna go back and go ahead and hit the ends. So this is the mushroom brown formula.
So I'm now applying my copper formula to this section, and I will be doing that around the entire perimeter and a little bit of the top where I sectioned off these two up here. And then I will be doing the mushroom brown on that back section.
Ashley, how thick was that green section from
so
the forehead back?
I did 1.5 inches all the way around. So I just parted that in half. So I just split it down the center and then made that part green. And then the other part will be that copper.
Nice.
Yeah.
Guys, Ashley's inspiration picture is literally the color that she's doing. She found this mushroom on, I think, Pinterest, and it's literally the exact same color. It was like that grayish brown with the copper orange, and then like that little green piece, which you incorporate in the bang. Is really cool.
Yeah, so I went on an interweb rabbit hole when I was looking up mushrooms, and I saw that one. It's called a turkey tail mushroom. It's so cool. I had to do that one when I saw it. I get a lot of my inspiration from the most random things. So
yeah, me too.
All right, guys, I have another question for you. We have Haley asking, what if the hair is stuck at a brassy state? What's my next move?
Well, first of all, what's the goal? You know what I mean? If the goal is to go lighter, and the integrity of the hair is compromised, you know, I would just keep it at the same tone. And again, using that 0-22, if it's brassy, can really reverse that warmth. And maybe the next session we can go a little bit lighter, but it all depends on that end goal, honestly.
Yeah, if you're stuck at brassy, but the hair isn't compromised, I might lift it again and then go from there. Depending on how light you want it to be.
Yeah.
We have a porosity question. Why do you spray water on the hair before you put on the toner?
I'm really about speed when I'm applying. And I've noticed that, you know, even with the moisture, I'm still able to get, you know, achieve like a nice tone. And I'm using less product, honestly.
What color do you prefer to see as the dominant tone? Is it the chocolate, the cendre, or the blue? Does it vary depending on each canvas? And can a mushroom tone have a stronger blue hue or a green one? It's a big question.
I feel like that just depends on the look you're going for. I mean, when I was researching what people thought like mushroom brown was, I did see a lot of a warmer tone, but to me that isn't necessarily like what I think mushroom brown is. So I really feel like that has to be up to you and your client. But as far as like what I'm into, I definitely like it more on the smoky and cooler side. So I would like to use more of the cendre and like the blue violets, that kind of thing, with a combination of the warm brown to kind of just balance it out a little bit, so you're not too smoky and it doesn't just look like almost like a silver or gray, you know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, Lynn, do you want to tell us a little bit about your thoughts on this question?
Yeah, so, you know, again, it depends on what the goal is. If they're looking for more of like a natural mushroom brown that's not as gray, you know, that's why I went with like the dash 4/6 to give it more of a natural mushroom brown. I've done a lot of like, you know, grayish mushroom browns and they're really pretty. I just wanted to give you guys another take on like, you know, different type of mushroom brown. They can go either way, honestly.
I think I really appreciate saying that, Lynn. I do think mushroom brown is such a creative color, right? It's really just like depends on who you're putting it on, what they want to see, you know, what type of tonality you feel like will work best on them. So it really is just like in determining what those tones are.
Yeah.
And then we have another question, and I would love for both of you to jump in on all the questions. So I think even though I think there's a little bit of like confusion around to fill or not to fill. There's someone asking about the -4/6, if that's a filler. So if you could kind of go into a little bit more detail about like, you know, what you're putting it on and why, everyone would really appreciate that.
Yeah, so I went with the -4/6 because it's a little bit warmer than like a 6-12, which would be more like cool on the grayish side. And the -4/6, it's not a filler for me. If I were to fill this, I would use like more coppers and reds and really bring this back to like, you know, a very, very rich opaque color. But mushroom brown that I'm going for is very hollow. That's why there's also a 7-1 in there. So no, I'm not using the 4/6 to fill. It's more so to keep it on the warmer natural side of warm brown, mushroom brown.
Yeah, I'm not filling either because I do want it to be on that like smoky and hollow side. So my colors are strictly just the color that I'm trying to achieve. And I know because I'm not filling it, it is going to appear more smoky and hollow. So like if I were to fill this color, I'd probably use like a 757 as my base and then kind of apply a color on top of that. But for this look, you know, mushroom brown, it's a more edgy kind of creative color. So I like that we're kind of breaking the rules and not feeling it.
Definitely, definitely. So we have a question, what's a good base level to melt the mushroom to? So I want you to take that question for what it sounds like to you.
Well, what was that question one more time?
What's a good base level to melt the mushroom to?
Melt the mushroom too.
Sorry, I know.
Let me see. Is it like what tone is good for a mushroom brown? Like to use mushroom brown?
So I think that maybe the question's just a little bit incomplete. So I'm gonna just like try to come up with a question here. So what's a good base level to melt the mushroom to? So maybe the question is a little bit more about like, do you want like a deeper root and then you want to melt it into something lighter? Is that maybe more along the lines of what that question is, do you think?
Yeah, so what's cool about these colors is like when you apply this color to the root, and because of the heat of the head, I feel like it already takes a little bit darker at the root, and then it starts to blend out anyway. Yeah, I've been doing that a lot with my clients, one tone, but the root takes a little bit darker because of the heat of the head.
Very cool.
So it's like a natural melt.
So then you you totally just use that to your advantage.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
There's only happy mistakes.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm so impressed with the speed. And then, so this is when you're popping in the yellow, Lynn?
Almost. The underneath of the bang of the fringe area, I left it darker, so it wasn't just like this yellow fringe right in front of her face. I wanted to give it some dimension at the base of the fringe that's closest to her face, and then I'll melt the top part of the fringe with the yellow. So as you can see, this part right here is going to be the mushroom brown, and there's a top layer of the yellow right on top of the fringe here.
Very cool. And Ashley, where are you at? Tell us a little bit about what you've got going on.
All right, so I'm almost finished with applying the copper around the perimeter. I'm just finishing up this side, and then I will be moving on to the front, and then I'll be starting my mushroom brown.
And I'm just going to read it off for you. So Ashley has a green, has a copper, which is just 7-77. And then for her mushroom brown, she's doing 40 grams of 6-12 and 10 grams of, 40 of 612.
The opposite. 40 grams of 6-16 and 10 grams of 6-12.
Everyone get that.
All right, so guys, I'm getting ready to put on the yellow, and it's just going to be straight out of the bottle, Chrome ID yellow. I'm going to go ahead and just pump a little bit of that in the bowl. And I'm really impressed with the Chrome ID yellow. It's one of my favorite yellow tones I've used. Really bright, really nice. And I can kind of compare what they look like, one in the bowl and one.
Oh my gosh, good. I'm obsessed with that yellow. And that spill on your doll head, it's so good.
You like that, the spill?
Yeah, love it, it's so cool.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's the yellow in the bowl, and I'm just gonna go ahead and block off the mushroom brown with some foil or saran wrap, whatever you have, and just apply the Chrome ID right onto the dry hair. Being super careful not to let the blonde pieces touch the dark. Go ahead and carefully apply the base of that yellow. And you have to be very careful when you apply these colors. They actually don't mix with the vibrance. Like you can't like mash them together and like blend. It doesn't work that way with these.
Can you tell us your formula one more time?
What was that?
Can
Sorry,
you
you broke up.
Oh, sorry. I know I have bad service, everyone. I'm so sorry. Can you tell us your formula one more time?
Absolutely. So I'm going to do an 1.5 inch section. So that is going to be the copper, which is 40 grams of 7-77. So that's the entire perimeter that is sectioned off. And then I split the front fringe in half, and one of the colors is going to be that green I created using Chroma ID, and that formula is 3.5 pumps of yellow with 1 pump of blue. And then my mushroom brown formula is 40 grams of 6-16 and 10 grams of 6-12. And then both of the copper and the mushroom brown, I mixed with 6 volume developer or lotion.
Thank you so much. All right, Maggie wants to know what kind of inspired your colors.
For mine, I also found a mushroom picture on Pinterest, and I just wanted to show you guys something super creative and simple to do that doesn't have to be this dragged out process. Yeah, super simple to do. A small section of yellow that just goes a long way.
It really is. Like, I have an old friend who always says minimum effort, maximum effect. And obviously, like, this is like a work of art, but like you really just like taking that really fine section on the top and allowing it to spill over that mushroom brown really is just like, I mean, look at that, you guys. That's like all that like light reflection spilling over that light absorption. It really is stunning. Gorgeous. And this, my friend, is why you are a world-class hairdresser.
Thank you.
All right. So Lynn, I actually didn't realize that Chroma ID and Vibrance don't really mix well together. That's really a good tip. Like, who knew, you know? Don't go mixing it together, y'all. It's not going to work.
I didn't know until I tried it for the first time. I'm like, that's not going to work. Because it's essentially, Chroma ID is a, you know, colored mask.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a conditioner. So yeah, it doesn't work.
Very nice. That yellow is like popping.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite out of the line, actually.
Very nice.
I mean, guys, that's it. I'm done with the, you know, with this technique. So now it's just, you know, you process for 15, 20 minutes and then you rinse out.
That's perfect. That's amazing.
Let's see.
Brilliant. All right, let's see what Ashley's doing. Ashley.
Ashley, how you doing? Ashley, I think you're muted somehow.
Yeah, Ashley can. Yeah.
It's right there in that screen. Yep.
All right. Well, we can see. Oh,
there it is.
Now.
I can hear you now.
Thank you. Sorry about that. So yeah, I'm just working on my mushroom brown right now.
Awesome. You want? Will you just tell us a little bit about your sectioning one more time? Because we can see it, but I would love to hear You talk about it.
Yeah, okay, so I do an 1.5 inch section around the entire perimeter, and that is my copper. Then I split the fringe in half, and I did the green on the bottom and then the copper on the top. And then whatever is left out on the top, that is my mushroom brown.
Okay. So we have a question for Lynn. How long will the yellow chroma ID last?
It says about 12 washes.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. And then you rinse them separately at the bowl, or can you rinse them all together?
Yes, I was gonna talk about that a little bit. So when you're rinsing this look, or any look that has opposite tones, you have to be careful. For example, if I let this yellow run into that brown, it will shift the tone of the brown. So what I would do is, the way that this is placed, I would hold the yellow up, rinse all the dark first, right? And then tilt her head a little bit, and then don't let the yellow run onto that brown, because it will shift that tone. I've done this with, for example, like a neon yellow and a green, or a neon yellow and a blue together. Wait, if you start to wash the blue into that yellow, you lose the yellow. It starts to turn green. So be very careful when you're rinsing this type of technique.
That's a great tip. All right. Kind of a more of a general vibrance question. Can you both tell me what is your what vibrance color do you think you have the most of? Like, you always have, what is it in your cabinet? What's your go-to?
Yeah,
For
I have
me,
a couple.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, yeah. Okay, so for me, my most used vibrance color would be 6-12. If I'm doing a melt, 7-1 and 6-12 are definitely go-to colors. Then I have been getting a lot of copper clients lately as well. So 777 is definitely always in my color cabinet for sure.
7-7. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's favorites.
Mine would be like 9.5-1. Like that always flies off of our color bar. And maybe like 8-11 as well, for those nice platinums and silvery tones.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. Can
Yeah.
I confession to you live in front of everyone? When I was a very young hairdresser, I almost tattooed 8-11 on my
Oh,
That's amazing.
that's pretty cool.
I could not. 811 just like rocked my world forever. I don't know. I still love it, but just thought I'd share that really embarrassing fact. So can we, let's see, we have a few questions. Let me just check them out. Ashley, can you tell us a little bit about your experience like switching to Vibrance from other lines?
Yeah, so like I said in the beginning, a lot of the times when I was using other color lines, I noticed that they were leaning towards the warmer side. And when I switched to Vibrance, I noticed like they're super true to tone. And if anything, they lean on the cooler side, which I really appreciate. Because with other color lines, I just felt like I was really having to over formulate to kind of compensate for that. Where when it should have been something really simple, right? But with Vibrance, I don't have that issue, and it's been pretty smooth so far. I love the lotion developer. Like I said, I feel like I use half the amount of product, so that saves you money. Yeah, I've just been dabbling, so I've been loving it so far.
That's amazing. Do you think that there's like any one thing that really sticks out to you, like a key learning maybe that like has really like been a highlighted sort of point for you in terms of Vibrance in your switch journey?
Yeah, so I like my biggest thing is don't be afraid to experiment with the color, because if you know what it's going to do, it's less scary, right? So my biggest thing is like I really like to just watch the colors and see what they do. And then you're not really worried if you run into anything, you know, you understand what that color is going to do. So we're super user friendly, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Really good way to put it, for sure. I really love, and I just want to highlight this one more time in case anyone knows it. Ashley's mentioned a few times that she likes to collect hair, whether that's her client's hair or swatches.
That sounds so creepy.
Not how you recommend it.
I know, right?
Listen, no, we have to get creative in this industry, and that's all right.
Yeah.
She's swatching everything so she can get familiar with what the colors look like and how they perform in different situations. And that is an excellent piece of advice, I think, because the more familiar you are with the tonalities and what they do, the more options you have. So
yeah,
Lynn,
and then you can create and come up with super awesome formulas like Lynn does. He's the formula master over here. So
yeah, totally.
Thanks,
This
Ashley.
guy, I'll just get in his brain. So Lynn, she looks amazing. She's
Thank
definitely.
you.
Can you tell us all? I mean, when I say that, I know she's gonna win. It's like an old phrase. Sorry if that sounds weird. Carry on. Tell us all about it.
What, the whole look again?
Yeah.
Yeah, so to create this really cool mushroom brown with this creative, I don't even know what to call this thing anymore, sprouted root type look. It's a very fine veil section that is literally just the, I'll show you guys, let her bend down a little bit, look at that. So it's a very, very small section on the middle part, right? See that? Like if I just pick up the middle section, you can see that it's just all brown. So what this does is it just kind of naturally just sprouts all over the hair sporadically. And when she moves, this color will start to like move with her. Like it'll just be different. So sometimes you'll have more brown, you know what I mean? And this is like the back. So it's like really cool. It comes back here because the veil dips down the crown just a tad, enough for the crown to kind of sprout out in different directions. So using that cowlick as like a creative pattern, right? Letting that just naturally just fall wherever. And you know how crazy cowlicks are, they just go wherever they want. So that I'm using that to my advantage to let this yellow just sporadically just fall around the back. So I blocked off that section, did everything mushroom brown, and then I colored the yellow last. So it kind of looks like this.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Very cool. We have someone who popped in and said, Lynn has always been so generous in sharing his form. This is true. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Very nice.
And she's rocking the signature Bescene bob, and she got pierced last night. If you guys see that, she has a septum piercing.
She is.
And she also has a wing liner. Look at that.
Oh my gosh, I'm officially intimidated. I don't know what.
Yeah. After I prepped her yesterday, she was like, you know what? I'm feeling pretty crazy, so I'm gonna go ahead and get my winged eyeliner and a septum piercing. I'm ready to go.
Wow. And did you do her winged eyeliner? Not to get off the
No, we have an assistant, Ruby, helped us out this morning. She put it on for her, and she pierced her.
Wow. So multi-talented, everyone. Fabulous. All right, Ashley, you've got it all on. Yes.
She's done.
Oh my God, you braid too. Look at that. Is that braided? Oh no, it's not braided.
No, it's not braided. She is finished.
Can
we
take a peek at that green?
Yeah. Like in the foil or
both?
Yeah.
Okay.
The foil and then result.
Okay.
Wow.
So this is the green processing. And again, that was the Chroma ID 3.5 pumps yellow and 1 pump blue.
And let's see the finished mannequin.
You got it. All
There she
right.
is. Look at that, guys.
There she
Bring it
is.
close up so they can see the green. Look at that.
Close up.
Wow.
And she's rocking that shag, huh? The Ashley Phillip
That shag.
right there.
I'll part it out so you can kind of see. Yeah, there's that green color in there.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, these two look amazing. Both of you like knocked it out of the park. Gorgeous.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so I have a couple questions that I want to ask you both. So, Ashley, I know we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but I was wondering if you could kind of just like give some advice to stylists who are, I mean, I know you love swatching, but if you have any sort of other advice for just switching, like that new experience with a new color line, how to like, you know, any pain points, anything that you would like everyone to know, we would love to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. My biggest piece of advice is don't be afraid to experiment. Find your core colors. Like, what do you use most? What do you know, like, what are your clients' favorite colors? You know, do you do more melts? Do you do more solid colors? Just kind of focus on the colors that you typically use. Look through the color wheel, you know, like the Schwarzkopf, how they have it numbered, and kind of figure out which ones you would be more inclined to use, and just play with those colors and see what they do. You can mix them. You can, you know, see what they do by themselves. But my biggest piece of advice is to experiment for sure.
That's amazing. And then can you tell us one more thing? Can you tell us like a key learning, like one thing that like has really been a light bulb moment for you with IGORA Vibrance?
A key learning. I guess I just the colors, once I see what they look like, compared to other colors within that family, it just blew it out of the water. So like, I know I'm not going to say the color line, but if you're familiar with 6NA or 7NA, try 7-1 and 6-12. It will blow your mind. Like, just how they look in comparison is beyond. And that's what's really sold me. Those two colors sold me.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. And then let's go over to Lynn and ask him the same questions. Everyone wants to know any advice that Lynn wants to give us about Vibrance, in key points or key learnings. We all want to know it.
You know, when you start to play with these colors and you're watching it process, don't be scared if the color in the bowl looks like not what you think, right? So I'll give you an example. The mushroom brown formula, right, that I mixed up looks kind of orangey and brassy in the bowl. Like it looks, let me see if I can show you better. It looks orange, right? So I trust my formula. So even though it looks like this in the bowl, I know that, you know, it will look like a beautiful brown when it's done. So don't be scared, you know, just really trust what you've learned and your knowledge, and then just let it process, do its thing, and it's going to be okay.
I agree.
Yeah, brilliant.
Because even with this color here, the 777, look how scary that looks. It doesn't look copper. It looks kind of, you know what I mean? You have to trust it, let it sit, let it do its thing. And then this is the color that you're going to get from it, you know, like, I mean, it's kind of different, you know, you just got to trust it.
That's great. Hey, Miranda.
Hey, I'm back. So I was watching in the background, and I am obsessed with the two combinations of mushroom brown that you both have done. And you took such a creative, interesting approach to it and really answered, I think, a lot of our audience questions in the background. I think the number one question that we were kind of also anticipating that was asked the most is, what was your formula? And so for the very last time, I would love for each of you to just go over your formula. I know we put it in the comments. I just think it's good. Some people are just auditory learners. So I would love for you guys to like each share your formulations. And then I have one more thing right after that.
Okay, ladies first. Go ahead, Ashley.
All right. So I did an 1.5 inch perimeter section, and that is my copper color. So for that formula, I used 40 grams of 7-77. And then for my pop of Vivid, I used Chroma ID, which was 3.5 pumps of yellow and 1 pump blue. And then for my mushroom brown color, I did 40 grams of 6-16 and 10 grams of 6-12, and using 6 volume lotion.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. And then Lynn,
No problem.
would love to hear from you.
Cool. So my veil section on top is just pure Chrome ID yellow, applied on dry hair. The mushroom brown is applied on damp hair. And I did 40 grams of 6-46. I did 20 grams of 6-16. I did 15 grams of 7-1 and 5 grams of 0-22. 1-to-1 ratio with 6 volume lotion.
Amazing. And both of you guys have a fantastic memory for your formulas, and I really appreciate that. All right, perfect. And for everyone who has questions in the comments right now about will this live be saved? Totally said that backwards. Yes, it will be saved. It will be streaming on Facebook for the entirety of the live. So you can go to Facebook and watch it again, or you could go to YouTube to watch it again if you want a refresher on this entire course. So with all that being said, if we have no more questions, which I think we answered a big chunk and majority of them, I'd like to thank, Lynn and Ashley. Thank you so much for taking the time to really teach us about IGORA Vibrance and how you like to use it, and really get, hairdressers who may not be familiar, a taste of what it's like to actually play with all of the different tones and tonalities. So super appreciate you guys. That is the close of the live. So thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you next time on the third stop of the DEMI Domination World Tour, where we bring in Josie Valet to talk about resilient reds. So thank you so much for joining. We will see you guys next time, and you all have a wonderful day. We hope this education segment was meaningful to you and that you'll be able to use it in the salon.
Bye guys, thank you.
Bye.